Welcome back. She's not on a bus. That is the head coach of your now 1-0 South Carolina Gamecocks in the postseason after beating Alabama for the third time in less than a week. We're squeezing you in. You're a saint. I wasn't expecting you to do this, but you did. Congratulations on the win last night. Did you get any sleep?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did. But it was a late one for us. We were up early, I guess, into the night. I think I went to bed before 2 a.m. sometime. But we're going to hit. We're trying to repeat yesterday's schedule, obviously. And yesterday we hit at 11. There's a wonderful facility here in Watkinsville, which is right outside of Athens, called the Yard, and they've been so gracious to host us
Yeah.
hitting. So we actually couldn't get in at 11, so we're going to noon. So I had a little bit more time than I expected when I texted you. But yeah, we're rested. We've had the morning here just to kind of get ready for A&M tonight, and the girls slept in. So doing well. Live from the hotel room. Here we are.
That's all right. We do this with Coach Lake every week when he's on the road, so we're used to. That's better than John Whittle a couple of weeks ago, live from outside of a dump somewhere in Ohio. Seriously, he had been in Lexington for the baseball series, and then was on the way to Cleveland to watch Jonah Bride play, and he was outside of like a landfill off the side of the road.
Hey, it takes what it takes, right?
Yeah, that's right, man. Y'all make it happen. It's all you, and we're so thankful. Ashley, whatever Ari and Ella did last night, just do that again today in BP. Yeah, look, we'll come back to Ari. She's getting all the limelight right now. Let's talk about Ella Chancey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. Ashley, I said something earlier. I hadn't thought about it till last night. I'm sitting here watching your kids play, and I mean, like, I'm saying this in a positive light. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. How the hell did all these girls end up at Charlotte? Oh, wait, maybe because Ashley Chastain knows what she's doing. How did everybody miss all of this talent? Like, what? It's there, and now it's here in Columbia, and I think Ella deserves so much. She made a hell of a play at third last night. She's just a stud.
Yeah, she's grown so much, and I actually have videos on my phone I'll send to you of just like when we were recruiting her, and she used to come to hitting clinics at Charlotte during the week. Like, her parents would drive her because she's here from Madison County, like in Athens, basically. So, I mean, it wasn't a short drive, but they would bring her for these hitting clinics through the week, and we just absolutely just adored her from the beginning. And she's just grown up. I mean, she's like a woman now. And like, I have these videos of this little like teenage girl on my phone, like hitting at these clinics. I'm just like, just to see her transformation over the past 4 years has just been incredible. And, that's been obviously a physical transition because, she's just so physical at third base. I mean, she's just got the look, and, she's invested in that aspect of her game, but just the mentality, and she's so consistent. That's the thing about Ella that I've been so impressed with over the past few years, of just her consistency. Like, she's not always the one in the limelight, but she's just the one behind the scenes that like always gets the job done when you need her. And she's been just rock solid at third base for years. And, to come through with such a big hit for us last night, it was electric. The whole game was electric. It was, I'm sure you could feel it through the TV screen. It was awesome. I'm really proud of her.
It was electric. There's no doubt about that. I was about to ask you about the environment. Sometimes you beat a team, you take 2 or 3 from them, especially the last series of the year, and then you have to turn right around and play them in the tournament. That can play mind tricks on people. But and your ladies came out in the first inning and did what they do, have some trouble from time to time. But I think one of the incredible characteristics of this team, and I'd put it on a T-shirt, is don't flinch, because they don't. They never flinch. They just, Sam got it together. She was phenomenal, and you scratched back, and then of course Rodi took it from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just are not fazed by much. And we were really intentional yesterday in our preparation, because we meet hours before we go to the field, and, we've got strategy conversations, but also just like, what mentality are we going to take into the game? And we were really intentional about trying to separate the series last weekend from the game last night. Like we did not want it to feel like an extension of the series, like game 4 of a series almost. We wanted it to kind of like separate itself and it kind of be like a solo mission of like, hey, we've got one job and that's to beat Alabama tonight. And so I was really impressed with the mentality that they took. And we just focused on a couple of things going into the game and kind of into the week. And they just really lean on each other. They're really close and they lean on each other when it's tough. And, Sam, I told her last night, it's kind of rare at this point in the year for like your ace to even get better as the game goes on. And, I felt like Sam was a little tight, at the beginning of the game. I know her so well, so I can just pick up on some cues. And it wasn't like she was, I don't think she was mentally stressing. I think physically, like she was just a little pushy with her mechanics and trying to force some spots. And, I thought she got better the second, the third, and the fourth, which is really, really special to get better the second time through the lineup, really. And the plan all along was to bring Hurd in from the bullpen. That was already, we were waiting for that matchup in the game, and it just happened to be a clean inning, which was awesome. And she threw gas. I mean, it was 70 on the gun, like the whole night. I thought she looked so good, and that's exactly what we need right now. We need Gress, Hurd, and Lamb to have some really good outings for us as we make a push here in postseason. And I thought both of them, the combination of Gress to Hurd was really good.
It was amazing. Yeah, mm-hmm. I mean they were just awesome. I mean, they were just awesome. I mean, Jori came in and was literally lights out. I mean, she gave up one hit in 3 innings to Alabama, and as Sam is just, she's full of something. I mean, she's got it. There's no doubt about it. They take after you a lot, and what I mean by that is, anytime they show you in the dugout or if you're at the game, you're here. The environment could be up there, but you stay here. It reminds me a little bit of Coach Tanner, maybe minus some of the F-bombs from time to time, but or if you're getting your rear end kicked, you don't see it on your face. And I think that's where a lot of this group gets it. Most teams, good teams, are reflections of their head coach. I know that you won't take the praise and you'll put it back on them and your staff. One of the things that the young ladies continue to get asked about, and Ari actually explained some of it last night on the SEC Network postgame, are probably a new term to a lot of people, CPAs in softball. So do you mind explaining what CPAs are, or what that means, and how do you get one?
Yeah, we tagged. You can call them anything. Some people call them like quality at bat. So you've heard the term quabs probably at some point in your career, but we just tagged it as competitive plate appearances. So anytime our kids get into the box, they have the opportunity to get a competitive plate appearance, and there's a list of things that go into that. So you can get out and still get a CPA, because we really solely want them focused on the process that happens pitch to pitch in the at bat, and not worried about the outcome of the at bat, but just focused on, okay, can I have a competitive plate appearance? And it does also take the kind of the focus off the scoreboard, whether we're down, tied, up, like whatever it is, like it takes the focus off of that and just really kind of puts their focus on the details. Something we talked about yesterday was focusing on the details really allow us to stay present. It doesn't allow us to futuristic think, which is, very powerful this time of the year and hard to do because, we're all thinking about the selection show on Sunday. But, I think, so a competitive plate appearance for us, it's exit velocity. So you can hit a ball 65 plus off the bat, and that'll get you a competitive plate appearance. A 7 pitch at bat. So you can go 7, 8, 9 pitches with a pitcher and get out, but you still got a competitive plate appearance. And we see that as so much value because we collect intel on every pitch that's thrown. So the more pitches you can see from the arm that's on the field, the more they're going to fatigue and the more intel we have for the next at bat. And then even for another matchup down the road. What else? A sack fly, a sack bunt, like anything that is productive for the runners on base, anything productive for the offense as far as moving runners. Obviously, a hit gets you a CPA. That's kind of the given if you do get a hit. I'm trying to think of what else. A walk, a hit by pitch, like anything that gets you the first, because we don't focus very much on batting average at all. It's just so affected by different things. But we do focus on our on base percentage a lot of like, okay, how much are we on base? So a walk, a hit by pitch. I think I've the 7+ pitches, exit velo, walk, hit by pitch, a hit, a sack fly, a sack bunt, an executed action play. So if we do a run and hit or a hit and run or anything like that, that gets you a CPA. Our team goal is to always be above 60% post game. And if we go back and we have the chart, we keep it on the whiteboard in the dugout, but also on a piece of paper that we can, file away. And if you go back and you really look at the games that we've had a really low percentage CPAs, like I can almost guarantee you that we've lost most of those games. Most games that were at 60% or slightly above are games that we've won on the year. We also track just like hard hit percentage too, of like, throughout the game, like how many times did we really hit the ball hard, even if it resulted in a line drive out or, a deep fly ball that we hit really hard. We just, for us, it's not like we don't live and die on being safe or out. Like, it's like, okay, what was the process and, was it really good? So that's a little insight on CPAs.
Kind of worked out for Ari last night. What was going on up there? How were they pitching her, and what? Obviously, we know what she did about it, but give us the insight on it.
Yeah, I think Brisky, was the pitcher out of the bullpen for Alabama. We faced her last weekend, so we had a lot of information on her, and Ari is gotten to where she can hit different spin directions out. So early in her career, there were only certain types of pitches or certain types of or certain areas of the zone that I felt like she had like a ton of power to. And she would also, Ari had to learn how to keep her swing in the zone. You could get her out by throwing her at, like right on top of the strike zone with her rise, and she's going to, swing and miss at that. But that was like freshman into sophomore year Ari. I think the past really 2 seasons, she's, she just doesn't get herself out as much. And she swings at strikes and she takes balls. And, obviously you've seen that with the single season walk record. So to break the single season walk record and now break the single season home run record, I think both of those are really unique to do that at the same time. So really proud of her on that. But, she was hunting a certain pitch, both at bats. And, I think she hit 2 different pitches out. And so I just think, she was just really in a good headspace at bat to at bat of like, okay, what did I do the first time? You can't really predict pitch calling, but like, okay, what am I hunting? Do I think I'm going to get it? And I'm going to go for it. So, she just had a really awesome performance, and the ball, I knew both balls were all out, like off the bat. It just had that sound to it. And Athens, or at their field, we're really close to home, unusually close. I mean, I'm 15 feet from home plate where I'm standing in the dugout. So I felt like I was in the box with her almost.
I noticed that last night. I thought, golly, they're on the field essentially there. Want to applaud, by the way, you mentioned the sound. We could hear it on TV. Want to applaud the SEC network. They had exceptional coverage last night. Now, Holly Rowe, she can't be stealing. You're ours. You belong to us. So you tell Holly easy. But all right, tonight you've got the number 1 team in the country. You haven't played them this year. I could ask you about who you plan to throw against them, but I don't know if you want to divulge that information just yet. But if you do, feel free to. But give us the scouting report on them. And Ashley, do you feel like this game is necessary to maybe attain a top 8 national seed?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, we're right now, if you look at the RPI, and I don't know if it's updated today yet because it's 11 a.m. Eastern, but, we're watching it closely. We're tight, for the national seed. And I think if you look at just quad 1 wins alone, I think we definitely deserve a top 8 seed. I think we're, kind of in the running right now with like LSU, UCLA, if you really kind of dive into the RPI of who they're going to give like that 6, 7, 8 spot to. So we'll see. I think if we win tonight, you can't predict what the committee is going to decide or what's going to be important to them year to year. We just kind of go off of what they've done in the past. But I do think if we win tonight, that, gosh, it really puts a stamp on our resume that already looks really good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, but, for the team and the girls, like, I just really want them focused on, how we beat A&M tonight. And it'll be a great atmosphere. We have not played A&M this year, which, is really exciting. It's new information for everybody. And I think, A&M has a ton of lefties. They're typically a 7-2 lefty righty split in their order. So this will probably be the most lefty heavy lineup we have faced all year. And so we've got to be really dynamic in the circle. You're going to see Gress, you're going to see Hurd. As far as what order those go in, I think we're still making that decision. I think the question mark for us is, where does Lamb fit? Because Lamb is good against lefties, and, she gets a lot of swing and miss on the rise, away to a left-handed hitter. So I definitely think she has a place. So my gut tells me you're going to see all three of them in some way, shape, or form. I think we're going to have to get really creative with such a dynamic offense. I mean, they just hit all fields, from the left side of the box, really all the way through the order. So I think we're going to have to get creative, and, we're putting together a plan throughout the afternoon. But I do think it's Hurd and Gress, but where does Lamb fit? Because I do think she'll be a factor for us for sure in the win tonight.
Man, what a ride for Neely Lamb from Charleston Southern to the SEC tournament, maybe against the #1 team in the country. Happens quick, doesn't it, Ashley?
I know. Yeah,
it can happen in a hurry. And they and quickly your offense versus the Aggies. What's important for your ladies tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that we'd face Kennedy. It's left-handed. It's 70 plus. It's a lot of velo. It's different directions. So I think that we're going to have to be really disciplined. We do walk more than we strike out, and I think that that's going to have to really fuel us tonight on just being able to pick a spin direction, like, not being able. We can't get caught in between different things. And when you face pitchers with off speed and velo and backspin and topspin, you can get caught in between. And once you get caught in between, good luck on someone that throws that hard in different directions, right? So I think we're going to have to be really disciplined on what we're hunting and really, stay in the zone on it. But Katie will have them ready. She always does. And I think she was up even later than us last night. Kind of diving in. She faced her, in a couple of her stops previously. So she does have experience with her. With an offense that she leads facing Kennedy. So they'll be prepared. I know most of them are already watching film in their rooms and stuff, but we'll meet early afternoon after we hit and kind of dive into, what we think the best plan is against them. And there is a little bit of weather. We are the last game this evening. Yeah. So we're just making sure that, we save our battery through the afternoon with the team, and just making sure that we don't, kind of gear them up too early if we're going to have a super late start. But but I wanted to touch on, you mentioned Coach Tanner earlier, and, I feel so supported and such a village around me. As soon as the game got over last night, I heard from two people. That was Shane Beamer and Ray Tanner. It's just like Shane told me, he's like, I stayed up past my bedtime to watch you guys win that game, and it was worth it. So it means the world to me to have, just such awesome people and coaches and, Coach Tanner in my corner, just, really just invested in what we're doing. It means a lot. It's really special.
Well, absolutely. And and Ashley, you obviously knowing both of those guys, that's who they are,
Yeah.
like, and they're going to do it when you lose games too. Like, they're not the ones who just show up when you're winning. That's not Shane or Coach Tanner. Matter of fact, they'll probably be there more when you're going through a tough stretch.
Yeah.
Hey, how can we help? And this, that, and the other. But I love that. I think it's the perfect example of what this university is all about.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta, by the way, I kept my kids up past their bedtime last night. So Riley's obsessed with you now.
Oh,
which is awesome for me, because I want her to, I don't want to make her love it.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to choose to love it. But if I can expose them to the things that can help that, then I'll cheat and do that. Right. And so now there's Miss Ashley, there's Miss Ashley, there's Miss Ashley, there's Miss, and then when there's other games, like where's Miss Ashley? I'm like, well, that's Florida and Georgia. They're like, oh, ugly orange, yeah, ugly.
Well, you're raising them right, that's for sure.
Yeah, but what I was gonna, I didn't even equate this, and I didn't. When you were a senior, at Carolina, which had to be 2011, right? 2010, 2011,
11, yeah.
Lexi Winters was your bat girl. Is that true?
Yeah, there was a year that we have some pictures of that. And I think she did it a couple of times because I've also seen some photos of her in the dugout a few years past me. Some players that obviously I know, but I didn't play with. They were like a few years younger than I. But yes, she's, Lexi Winters grew up in that dugout. It's just an incredible story. I just love it so much. It just, it just brings so much emotion and almost tears to my eyes thinking about, just the year that she's had. And, it was all very divine, full circle for her and back in the dugout in the uniform.
Oh, that gave me I saw it last night. It gave me goosebumps. So cool. So cool. Yeah. Well, the hero tonight's going to be Lexi Winters. That's I'll stand on that. The fabulous catcher for South Carolina softball. I told you 10:45 to 10:55. It's your fault because you weren't on the bus. So
yes, it's okay.
We kept you late. Believe it or not, we just had Debbie Antonelli in front of you, the magnificent Debbie. Coming up, we have a new segment called Lipsy's Locker. I'm going to put Kyle Lipsy in front of a camera.
Oh my gosh, I need to tune into that. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to talk about in spirit and uniforms and all kinds of crap. But Ashley, you got the state of South Carolina is going to be watching y'all tonight. There's a lot of people who, maybe they had to jump on the bandwagon, but sure are glad they're there. And you go get them. Go get them tonight. Make a big statement for South Carolina softball. Congratulations on the victory over the Tide. And hopefully we get to see you playing into the weekend. And certainly looking forward to Selection Sunday. I don't know. Maybe if y'all win tonight, maybe we'll try to squeeze you in again tomorrow and keep the good luck going or something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're going to have to repeat it for sure. We're pretty routine. We don't like to say we're superstitious, but routine, I don't know if they're the same thing, but yes, we have to fit it in. And we really appreciate it. We feel the love all the way from Columbia. We're not that far away, which is awesome. We've had so many just fans show up. There were so many people in the stands last night, and just making the drive and the investment and the time away from your families and work, it just means a lot. And we're really excited about that. And speaking of the selection show, I just want to make sure, I say on here, we are opening our watch party to the public. So if you'd like to come and be around the team Sunday evening, we're going to be at Carolina Ale House in Harbison. They're going to host us, and we're so thankful for them, to host us. The team will arrive between 6 and 6:30, and the selection show starts at 7 p.m. At Carolina Ale House in Harbison. So come on out. You can grab a table. There's TVs everywhere, and we will await our fate of seeing where the committee sends us.
Wonderful. We'll get that out. I'll make sure Whittle puts it on the Big Spur and stuff like that too.
Awesome.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Ashley, thank you. You're always so kind with your time and everything. It means a lot to us. We're proud of you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
We'll see you. There you go.
Bye.
Ashley Chastain, the head coach of the Gamecocks.